Hello, I'm Mike. I'm going to be starting a project here. I know there's a lot of people interested in putting a Honda clone engine into a Polaris XC120. So I'm going to attempt it. Here I've got a bone stock, typical Polaris XC120. I've measured it out and it looks like the clone engine will fit, but I'm not sure the mounts are going to fit. This is a clone engine from Harbor Freight, and I've started by pulling the gas tank off and pulling off the throttle linkage, and I've gone shopping at NR Racing. I picked up a Honda carburetor, so I have a genuine 200cc carburetor. It's been remapped. There's a 92 jet in it and a 140 E-tube. I've got a breather I picked up at Pet Boys. I'll be connecting that up right here on the valve cover, just so I don't get dirt in there. I've got a set of oversized rocker arms. I've got the intake cone, the velocity stack there for letting it breathe a little bit better. 18-pound valve springs, and I've also got a key, an 8-degree timing key. So I'll be putting all that into the engine, and then I'm going to try and fit it into that snowmobile. So stay tuned. Alright, so I've changed out the Honda carburetor, put the velocity intake stack on there. The choke is here. This thing will pop off, but I don't know if it'll be a problem or not. I'll probably try without, and then if it's a problem, I'll have to figure out a little bracket to hold it on. I took 4 bolts out of this cover right here, and I'm popping that off. Notice I've taken these 3 bolts off and changed the recoil to a different position. I pull this off. What I'm after here is I'm going to change the timing key. I'm also going to put on a Honda flywheel. I have a flywheel here with the generator magnets in it, and I have a stator coil that I picked up. It's out of a Arctic Cat XCR120, and I'm told that it'll fit in there, and I should have electricity for my Polaris. All these wires here, I'm basically pop this apart, and I'm going to disconnect. I'll keep this wire, and that'll connect up with my chassis for killing it. And the rest of these wires are all coming off of here, and I'll clip the wire right here. This is a, I believe that's a switch for shutting down the engine if the oil gets low, and I'm going to just shut that out, take that out too. With the cover off, I will remove the nut from the center, and we can pull off this recoil bracket and this blower wheel. And the blower wheel I'll be modifying. I'm going to cut out every other one of these little fins to reduce drag on it. I'm now removing the flywheel, and what I did is I wedged a screwdriver in between the housing and the flywheel. I put the nut back on here and tapped on the nut until I got it to pop. And now it slides right off, and there's my flywheel. And here's the timing key. So I'll change that out, and I'll be mounting my stator and my flywheel. Alright, well, this is I've been working on this for a while now, and I've got the governor gear removed. Open up the case on the side here, pulled out the little plastic gear and the little arm, and also the low oil sensor in there. I removed the valve cover here, put in some higher ratio rocker arms and 18-pound valve springs. That's done. And now I just want to say a couple words about the lighting coil. I was told that the Arctic Cat lighting coil would work with the GX 200 flywheel with the 2 magnets, but It clearly didn't work. I had picked this one up off of eBay, and it's just too big and it doesn't fit the bolt pattern on the side of this clone. So I did have these coils from the 50 amp. I believe that's what they are. The originals, I think, are 50 watts. I think the original is 80 watt. So I'm going to try the 50 watt since I have them with the flywheel from the Honda, and we'll see what happens. If you try to go this route, you will note that there's only one wire. These two coils have one wire that splices together, and so we have one wire here coming out. The original coils have two wires coming out, but your second wire is just going to be the ground on this, so I'll ground the chassis and connect that to the other wire. And I've also got my 8-degree flywheel key installed here, so I'll put the flywheel on, torque it to 90 foot-pounds. I've got my cooling fan here. I've removed every other blade. I just snipped them off. And we'll get ready to put this baby in. Alright, my flywheel's in place. My fan's on. My nut is torqued. And 60 foot-pounds is what I torqued it to. And I also set the adjusted the gap on the coil right here. Put a feeler gauge in and set it to 20 thousandths. Oh, here's the clone engine put into the Polaris, and it does have to shift forward in there because the valve cover is at the bulkhead there. Looks like the steering will be close, and I'll play around with that and we'll see what we get out of it. Okay, well, I've taken the engine out of the snowmobile and I've marked the holes. And what I've discovered is I need to move all of the mounting holes a ½ inch forward. So I've marked holes, marked where I'm going to drill holes about a ½ inch in front of each of these holes, and the same on the bottom, here, 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 and here. The other thing I've done is the bolts on the steering come fairly close to the front of the engine. I think they would have cleared, but I just flipped these bolts around. Did have the nut, the great big nut sticking out on this side. I've moved it over to this side, just a minor change. So I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes, and then I'll see if it fits in there. Okay, and here's a look at the holes now drilled. I drilled these extra holes right here, and the same around the drive shaft. So I'll drop the engine. One last thing before I drop the engine in there after drilling the holes. I'm going to move my tether to the location where the choke cable is, or rather I just finished doing that. If you want to remove that choke cable, you'll have to get the gas tank out of the way. There's two screws right here. You pull those two screws out, take the gas cap off, and the tank will push down in, and you can slide it toward the back of the snowmobile. Then nut on the back side, and the choke cable slides out, and you can remove the tether from here. Just unscrew the top, take the bottom half, slide it into here, and screw it back on, and voila, you're done. So next up will be to drop the engine in. I did try these screws, and I noticed that the screws that mount the engine around the clutch here are actually a fine threaded screw, and of course the clone motor uses a more coarse thread, so I'll have to be getting some new screws to go in there. Okay, the engine is bolted in. Clutch fits in there nicely. I'm still waiting for a sprocket, so I'm not putting in the chain yet. The fuel line is routed. I'm not wild about that, so I might change it, but for now I have a fuel line in there. The electrical wires are connected. We've got a yellow wire that connects up to the lighting coil. We've got a brown wire that gets grounded, and a black wire goes to the ignition, and this old connector here just is not used. Steering is back in place. Steering clears the engine. And now I'm putting a pipe on, and I'll give you a quick look at my pipe. This is a pipe that I fitted up with some pieces from Menards, about a $10 cost, and an MTD muffler that was from Menards. So total cost about $10. If your kid's snowmobile has a pipe that's made out of plumbing parts, then you might be a redneck. Okay, here's my exhaust pipe installed. A little coat of high temp black paint, and I also had to make a adjustment to the cover, cut out a little notch so that it installs right in there, just like so. And the pipe has pretty good sound, I think, and who knows how it's going to perform. Set the camera down here.